Welcome back to Only Talk Sports. We talk sports every single day, or at least we try to. I'm Ernst Jeffrey. Subscribe to the channel if you like sports content. Hit that notification bell so you never miss our video. There are 3 weeks left in the NFL regular season. The playoffs are right around the corner. Christmas is right around the corner. And we've got a fantastic week of games in the NFL leading up until Christmas and on Christmas as well. Usually Christmas is reserved for the NBA and all of their games, and they still have some games in the NBA on Christmas, but the NFL's entered the fray with a triple header on Christmas. It's going to be awesome this week with these NFL games. I'm going to preview and predict every single Week 16 game in the NFL and see which teams I think can get important wins to help boost their playoff chances, or which teams I think will lose this week and fall their way out of the NFL playoff race. Now, on Thursday Night Football on Prime Video, you've got the New Orleans Saints traveling to the Los Angeles Rams to kick off this great week of NFL action. New Orleans and Los Angeles are both 7-7, and they're both in the NFL playoff hunt. They both need a big win if they're going to be able to make the NFL playoffs. The Saints, they're in the NFC South, so they have a much easier chance to possibly make the playoffs if teams like the Bucs and the Falcons keep on losing. Then the Saints can make the playoffs. The Rams, they're in a division where they're going to need more help to possibly make the playoffs. They're going to need to get some big wins, but luckily for the Rams and the Saints, both these teams were able to win last week to put themselves in this prime position to get back over 500 with a win. Derek Carr's been injured a lot this season. He has not been playing some of the best football of his career, but still overall, Derek Carr's done enough to help the Saints get wins this year. But going on the road at LA, Stafford's been getting healthy. He's been playing much better. I think that the Rams offense is going to be a little bit too much for the Saints, and they're at home as well. I'm going to go with Los Angeles to beat New Orleans 24-21 for the Rams to get their 8th win of the season. Now, we don't have a Saturday triple header, but we got a Saturday double header this week with the Cincinnati Bengals traveling to the Pittsburgh Steelers on NBC at 4:30 in the afternoon. The Bengals are 8-6 and the Steelers are 7-7. And Mason Rudolph, it looks like he's going to be starting for the Steelers in this game because Mitch Trubisky did not do a good enough job to keep the starting job, and Kenny Pickett's still injured. Jake Browning's been doing very well for the Cincinnati Bengals. They were able to beat the Minnesota Vikings last week on an incredible catch by T. Higgins that helped them be able to stay alive in that game and get the win. That was an incredible play. Pittsburgh's offense has struggled all year because of Matt Canada, but when he got fired, they did a little bit better with Kenny Pickett, but now that he's injured, Pittsburgh, with this revolving door at quarterback, their offense is sputtering. I believe that Cincinnati will be able to go on the road and beat the Pittsburgh Steelers 24-17. Jake Browning's going to probably outperform Mason Rudolph, and I think the Bengals are going to get their 9th win of the year. Then on Saturday Night Football, exclusively on Peacock, you got the Buffalo Bills traveling to the Los Angeles Chargers. Now, I made the mistake of picking the Los Angeles Chargers last week, and they got obliterated by the Las Vegas Raiders. The Raiders went from scoring 0-63, and the Chargers, they got completely annihilated. Buffalo, they were able to get a massive win last week over the Dallas Cowboys. I didn't think that was going to happen. Dallas had won 5 games in a row, but they hit a brick wall at the Bills. Buffalo played great. If they can keep up that level of play, they seem like they're on a mission to make the NFL playoffs. The Chargers, they look like they know their season's done. Easton Stick struggling, not being able to replicate the stats that Justin Herbert was putting up. I'm going to go with the Buffalo Bills to knock off the Los Angeles Chargers 28-13 for the Bills to get their 9th win of the year and boost their NFL playoff chances. Then you've got the Indianapolis Colts and the Atlanta Falcons to kick off the Sunday afternoon games on Fox. Indianapolis is 8-6 and Atlanta is 6-8. Atlanta blew their playoff chances big time with a loss to the Carolina Panthers of all teams last week. That was a 9-7 loss. That was a terrible loss. Desmond Ridder could not get anything going on offense. Atlanta has to win this game if they're going to make the playoffs, especially if the Saints and the Bucs do win this week. If they get their 8th win and Atlanta falls down to 6-9, they're probably going to be about eliminated from the playoffs. Indianapolis, they're 8-6. They're in the playoff race with a cluster of teams that are fighting for the last few wild card spots in the AFC. I think Indianapolis is going to be on a mission to try to win their 9th game of the year. Gardner Minshew has been doing a pretty good job filling in for Anthony Richardson. He's had his ups and downs, but I don't think Atlanta's defense is going to be enough to slow down Indianapolis, especially with Atlanta's offense struggling. I'm going to go with the Colts to beat the Falcons 21-10. Then you got the Seattle Seahawks traveling to the Tennessee Titans. Seattle got a big win last week over the Philadelphia Eagles to help the Seahawks' chances of making the playoff. They're 7-7, and the Titans are 5-9. Tennessee got a big win against the Dolphins 2 weeks ago, but then they let a lead slip away against the Houston Texans last week with no C.J. Stroud. I thought the Titans might have been able to pull that one off, but they fell apart in overtime. I think that Seattle, because they were able to get a big win last week, sometimes it's tough to follow that up with another key win. But I think that they're going to be on a mission. Geno Smith is out, but Drew Lock, he played very well. Whether Geno Smith plays or Drew Lock plays, I believe Seattle is going to go on the road and beat the Titans 21-14, especially because the Titans have quarterback issues of their own with Will Levis being questionable as well. He might not even be 100% if he plays. I think Seattle will win. Then you got the Detroit Lions traveling to the Minnesota Vikings. Minnesota had a tough, heartbreaking loss last week to the Cincinnati Bengals. It looked like the Vikings were going to win with Nick Mullins at quarterback. He's filling in for Joshua Dobbs because the Vikings have benched Dobbs for him not playing as well as when he was first starting. So Mullins is now the quarterback. He did okay, had a couple of picks, but still the Vikings did enough to win until the end when the Bengals, with that incredible catch from T. Higgins, they were able to send it to overtime, and then they were able to win the game. But Detroit, they're 10-4, and the Lions have been struggling a little bit lately, but they bounced back in a big way with a huge win over the Denver Broncos. That could carry over again this week. Jared Goff got back into rhythm, having 5 touchdown passes. It is on the road, and Detroit is a better home team, but I do believe that the Lions will go on the road and beat the Minnesota Vikings 31-17. Then you got the Washington Commanders at the New York Jets. This is really the first game of the week where neither team's in the playoff conversation. The Jets are 5-9 and the Commanders are 4-10. Both teams are really struggling this season. Sam Howell had a great start to the year, but he's kind of trailed off lately. The Commanders' defense has been abysmal this season. The Jets' offense hasn't been able to get into a rhythm because Zach Wilson's been injured a lot, and he's questionable for this game. And you had Aaron Rodgers out for the entire season. There's been rumors that he could return, but with the Jets not being able to make the playoffs now, there's really no incentive for him to return. So I do believe that this game is going to be a low-scoring affair. Both teams are going to struggle, but I will go with the Jets just because they're at home to beat the Commanders 14-13. Then you got the Green Bay Packers traveling to the Carolina Panthers. Can Carolina win another game? It's been easy picking the Panthers all year. You pick against them and they lose, but they didn't lose last week. They were able to knock off the Atlanta Falcons to move to 2-12 on the season. It gave Bryce Young a little bit of confidence. The Green Bay Packers, they're 6-8, and they're in danger of missing the NFL playoffs. They lose another game, especially to a team like the Carolina Panthers. So they need a win. Jordan Love has been trailing off lately, not playing as well as he was earlier in the year. Bryce Young, like I said, has had a lot of struggles this season, but getting that win, that might give him some confidence to be able to win another game. And it's at home, and the Packers aren't the best offensive team. I believe the Panthers have a shot in this game, but I'm going to go with the Packers to stay alive in the playoff hunt and knock off the Carolina Panthers on the road 17-14. Then you got the Cleveland Browns traveling to the Houston Texans. This is an underrated game. The Browns are 9-5 and the Texans are 8-6. CJ Stroud is questionable, and his health is key for this game because Case Keenum came in for the Texans. He played okay, and they were able to knock off the Titans. But if the Texans are going to win, they need CJ Stroud because for whatever reason, the Cleveland Browns this year, they've turned into the Minnesota Vikings of last year. They keep finding ways to win. Are the Cleveland Browns really one of the better teams in the NFL at 9-5 in the season? I don't know if they actually are, but you can't deny that they keep winning games. Joe Flacco is now the quarterback for the Browns after Dorian Thompson-Robinson, P.J. Walker, and Deshaun Watson have all been quarterback at some point this year. But Joe Flacco, he had 3 picks last week, but he dropped a dime to Amari Cooper late in the game to help the Browns win last week. I believe the Browns are going to keep it rolling, especially with C.J. Stroud questionable, and he might not be 100% even if he plays. I'll go with Cleveland to beat the Texans 27-24 for the Browns to get their 10th win of the season. Who would have thought that at the beginning of the year? Then you got the Jacksonville Jaguars traveling to the Tampa Bay Buccaneers. Jacksonville's 8-6, and they're starting to slip a bit and getting a little bit of danger of possibly missing the NFL playoffs if they can't get some wins. And this is not an easy game because the Buccaneers, they've been up and down this year, but they're starting to play better football now. They've won their last 3 games. They're one of the teams trending in the right direction. Baker Mayfield put up a perfect passer rating last week against the Green Bay Packers on the road. So it looks like Baker Mayfield's healthy, playing some of the better football of his NFL career right now. And Tampa Bay is in that clogged NFC South, tied with the Saints for the lead. I think they're going to do everything they can to get the win and possibly be able to take the lead of the NFC South and be able to make the playoffs. If Trevor Lawrence, if I knew he was going to be closer to 100%, I would go with Jacksonville, but they're struggling right now. They didn't play too good last week in the loss to the Ravens, had a lot of turnovers. Lawrence still doesn't look like himself. I'm going to go with the Tampa Bay Bucks to beat the Jacksonville Jaguars 24-21. Then you got the Chicago Bears at home against the Arizona Cardinals. Arizona's 3-11. Kyler Murray, he's now the quarterback again for Arizona. He's been up and down, but he hasn't been abysmal, but Arizona just doesn't have a good enough team to get a lot of wins in the NFL this season. Chicago suffered a tough loss last week to the Cleveland Browns, and they're now 5-9 on the year, but they were able to knock off the Detroit Lions the week before that. So the Bears have been playing a bit better lately, and they were this close to beating the Browns because Justin Fields threw a Hail Mary that should have been actually caught. There was a guy on the ground, and he had the ball in his hands, but it blew out of his hands. The Browns survived. But I think that the Bears are playing better football than the Cardinals right now. They don't really have any playoff chances, but still Justin Fields, this is valuable experience for him to possibly be able to keep his job with the Bears, even though a lot of people don't think that's going to happen. I'm going to go with the Bears to beat the Cardinals 21-14 for Chicago to get their 6th win of the year. Then you've got on Fox, the game of the week in the NFL, the Dallas Cowboys traveling to the Miami Dolphins. Now, this might not actually be the game of the week because there's going to be a great game on Christmas Day in the NFL, but still, this game's going to be fantastic, and on Fox, it's always labeled the game of the week. Dallas, they struggled last week on the road at the Buffalo Bills. Dallas always plays better at home, so it's going to be kind of tough to pick them on the road at Miami. The Dolphins, yes, they've had some ups and downs recently, but the Dolphins were able to get a massive 30-0 win over the Jets. Yes, it's New York, but still Miami blanking them is impressive for their defense. Tua Tagovailoa was able to win without Tyreek Hill. Tyreek Hill might be back this week as well, which will definitely help out Miami's offense. If Dallas was a better road team, I would go with them, but I'm going to go with the Miami Dolphins to beat the Dallas Cowboys 24-17 for Miami to get their 11th win of the year, for Dallas to fall to 10-5. Then you got on Sunday Night Football in the NFL on NFL Network, the New England Patriots are traveling to the Denver Broncos. This is not the strongest Sunday Night Football game, but there's a lot of other great games in the NFL this week. Denver 7-7, New England's 3-11. Bailey Zappi, he's been okay, but he's struggled at times as the Patriots quarterback, just like Mac Jones has. Russell Wilson, he's been playing much better football this season than he did last year for Denver, and even though they're only 7-7 and they suffered a tough setback at the Detroit Lions last week, Denver has still won 6 of their last 8 games. I think that's going to carry over again. They're at home as well at Mile High. I'm going to go with the Broncos to beat the Patriots 21-13 for Denver to get their 8th win of the year. Then on Christmas Day, hope everybody has a Merry Christmas, watching some fantastic NFL action or NBA action, whichever you prefer. But you've got the Las Vegas Raiders traveling to the Kansas City Chiefs to open up the triple header on CBS. The Raiders are 6-8, and they destroyed the Los Angeles Chargers last week. The Raiders had their best performance in their entire franchise history if you're basing it off of points. The Raiders have never scored 63 points before in the NFL. That's absolutely insane. But now they're going to be going on the road to Arrowhead at Kansas City. The Chiefs, they're 9-5. Yes, they've had some ups and downs, but they were able to knock off the Patriots last week. Kansas City, are they playing as well as they normally do? No, and Patrick Mahomes, he's voiced his frustration throughout the season. Yes, you got the Taylor Swift, Travis Kelce stuff. That could be a bit of a distraction. Who knows? But the Chiefs, they're still the better team here. I know the Raiders had that great performance last week against the Chargers, but I don't think they're going to be able to replicate that performance this week. I'm going to go with Kansas City to knock off the Raiders 31-17 for the Chiefs to move to 10-5 on the season. Then you got on the Christmas afternoon game on Monday on Fox, it's the Philadelphia Eagles hosting the New York Giants. New York's 5-9, the Eagles are 10-4, and Philadelphia, they've lost their last 3 games. Philadelphia could not beat Seattle on the road. Jalen Hurts does not look 100%. He had an illness this past week, but he still played. I think his hamstring might be still bothering him as well, so that's going to be tough for Jalen Hurts to be able to lead Philadelphia to victory with the way that he looks right now. I give him credit, though, for playing. New York's not the greatest team in the world. Their defense has been okay this season, but their offense has struggled. Their O-line's terrible. Tommy DeVito's doing everything he can, but I believe Philadelphia's defense is going to be too much, and Jalen Hurts will play well enough for Philadelphia to stop this 3-game losing skid and win on Christmas Day 21-14 over the New York Giants. Then on Monday Night Football in the NFL on Christmas Day, we've got possibly the best game of the week. The Baltimore Ravens traveling to the San Francisco 49ers at 8:15 on ABC. The Ravens are 11-3. The 49ers are 11-3. Both these teams have been playing fantastic football this year. Lamar Jackson put up some of the best stats of his career. He's in the MVP race, and for good reason. He's running the ball well. He's passing the ball well. Their defense is fairly solid, but going on the road at San Francisco, Brock Purdy's been insane this season. Christian McCaffrey, Deebo Samuel, Brandon Ayuk lead a fantastic offense, and San Francisco's defense is dangerous as well. Outside of that 3-game losing skid when there were some injuries, the 49ers have been almost unstoppable this season because they're at home, and the fact that the Baltimore Ravens, like most teams in the NFL, play better at home. I think that San Francisco will knock off Baltimore 34-24 for San Francisco to move to 12-3 on the season with a Monday Night Football Christmas Day win. So those are the Week 16 games in the NFL. It makes it all the more special as well that we've got Christmas right around the corner, and we've got a great triple triple header on Christmas Day. I hope everybody has a Merry Christmas with their family and friends watching some great sports action. It should be a lot of fun, but let me know what you guys think in the comment section down below about every single Week 16 game in the NFL. Which teams you think are going to win and help boost their NFL playoff chances, and which teams you think will possibly lose and fall out of the NFL playoff hunt, and what you think about my picks for every single Week 16 game in the NFL. Subscribe to the channel if you like sports content. Like this video down below. Follow me on Twitter as well. Link is in the description, and I'll see you next time.